Hello? You play to win the game. You don't play to just play it.
What's that? Playoffs? Don't talk about playoffs. You kidding me? Playoffs? I just hope we can win a game.
Get out there, play hard, enjoy those games.
Welcome in to Go Big or Go Home. I'm Old Man Troy, joined by the Cookie Monster, Kevin Cunningham, a.k.a. Kid Cunny on Twitter. I have no idea why I've got a cookie fetish today, but you're the Cookie Monster.
All right. Sounds good. I'm down with that. I love cookies. So
I know you do. I figured you'd like that. I figured you'd like that. Before we get started, letting the fans know we are recording on the Inner Peak Coffee virtual studio line. Go check them out at innerpeakcoffee.com. They've got their new pumpkin spice coffee out, youngster, for the fall. Told you before, I am not a pumpkin spice guy. I will not be ordering that, but some people enjoy their pumpkin spice. So go check it out, innerpeakcoffee.com, and support our sponsor. How are things going down in Florida today, my friend?
They're good. I forgot to tell you the last time I recorded a show, I went out in the morning for work, and it truly felt like fall. It actually wasn't super hot in Florida, which was, whenever that happens every year, it's just an amazing feeling, and that it has finally changed where it's basically nice out 24 hours a day. So no complaints there.
Well, I got to add something here because I'm recording this show. The loyal listeners know I do it on the way home. And it is 50 degrees outside, perfect hoodie weather. And you know me, youngster. We've been doing these shows long enough. This is very nice weather for me. I'd like it at maybe 10, 15 degrees higher, but I'll take it. But as I work on our social media, and I do a lot on there, I see these people wishing summer was back, missing the beach. I'm like, no, flannels and hoodies are the way to go. I'm all jacked up. I love it. I love it. So I'm glad you're enjoying your weather. I'm enjoying mine, but I'm taking a trip south next week. So I'll be recording from the probably sandy shores of Myrtle Beach. I don't know how the weather's going to be, but we'll be down there. But we literally have a big show today. Literally a big show because we are starting our big football preview. It is an annual thing. We do it. We're not going to get down and dirty like every player on every team, just a brief overview of football, but it is 2 minutes, or 2 minutes, 2 months behind. We usually do this thing in August. But take it away, youngster. We're going to start at the bottom of the conference, and that's how we're going to do it.
Yes, we're going to go bottom of the Big Ten West division, and then next week's show. So I have to be honest. I was late in doing my homework. It's weird preparing for this show this year compared to other years because things have been so different, and guys opting out, opting in to find the latest exact replica of what rosters look like, and it's honestly difficult. I'm not going to lie to you. If I mess up and we have a comment on Twitter or a comment on Facebook, whatever, what are you talking about? This guy, he opted out. He transferred. So my apologies. Usually I'm more on top of things. This year, just the way it has gone down, it's almost impossible unless I spent a good amount of time on each team researching everything and how everything's going down. So, again, every year we typically do 3 or 4 teams per episode as far as season previews, and so that's why it takes us a month. But usually 10 to 15 minutes each team. I'll try and keep it that way this year.
And it's more schedule-based anyway, youngster. We really look more at the schedule and the overall team as to where, how we think that schedule fits in, where they're going to fall in the conference. We'll talk about some of the prime players. But, again, if you're a Northwestern fan, we're not talking about your backup quarterback. We're not talking about your depth at linebacker. We're going to talk about Northwestern football, where we think they're going to end up in the Big Ten, especially in this COVID year. There are some teams, youngster, I'll be honest, after looking at the schedules, there are some teams that got a much better draw than others in this shortened season because it's just conference play. There is no non-conference. And I believe that the Big Ten is going to play enough games that they're going to warrant votes in the AP, and they're going to turn heads for the selection committee. They have enough games to do that. Now, you're not going to be able to, either sugarcoat your non-conference and get the wins, or you're not going to be able to build your strength of schedule with that non-conference. But there are some teams that have a much easier path to that conference championship game than others. So we'll see how this rolls out. But take it away, youngster. Let's rock and roll. Big Ten football is back.
Yes, hallelujah. So on this show, by the way, I was planning on doing 4 teams. I've only gotten through 3 so far. Maybe if Troy goes into some long-winded, 30-minute rant, then I'll finish my homework on Illinois.
Long-winded? Why do you bring that up? That never happens.
I'm just saying it could be a possibility. So if that happens, not necessarily.
That's a pretty good one. I wonder what the Vegas odds would be on the old man going on a long-winded rant on a show. You probably wouldn't make much money if you picked yes.
Right.
You'd probably have to pick no. But what are you considering long-winded? Like 2 minutes, 3 minutes?
That's the thing. Like, we both have 3-minute rant / oh my God, we're super in-depth on what we're talking about.
Well, you don't, because I interrupt you half the time.
Yeah, but still, like, every episode, there gets to be one point where I go off for 3-4 minutes. And it's just like, okay, like, what are your thoughts, Troy? Whatever. Like, I just...
Yeah, and those are the ones that I bite my tongue and I keep drinking my Rockstar, and I just let you go, because it's like, look, go, youngster, go! Yeah, go. I want to interrupt you, but I'm not going to. So those people out there listening that are loyal listeners that say all you do is interrupt the youngster, I do. I do it a lot. But it's just, I've made this argument. When I interrupt you, it's not because I don't want you to talk. It's because if I don't interrupt you at that time, I will forget. I literally will forget, and I need to get it out. If I was young like you, I might be able to wait until you're done. But I got 2 things against me. I'm doing it as I travel, so I can't write it down. And then 2, I'm just getting old. And you're good at remembering where you left off and get right back into it. So that's why I interrupt you. You make it too easy. All right, carry on.
I appreciate that. I really don't think it's that not a big deal at all. You're interrupting because to me it just adds to the show. It's not a hindrance whatsoever. Anyway, so moving on here, we will absolutely get through Northwestern, Purdue, and Nebraska, depending on what I do in the middle during the show, maybe Illinois. But anyway, regardless. So, starting with Northwestern from a year ago, they finished 3-9 overall. They finished 1-8 in the Big Ten. 2 years ago, was that? Let me see here. Let me just double check, make sure. So 2 years ago, 2018, they got 9 wins. They finished 8-2 in the Big Ten. They won the Big Ten West. That's what I thought. So again,
they're in the conference championship game.
Yeah. And then last year came and they brought in a 5-star quarterback recruit, not due to their own doing, but he was a transfer from Clemson. And I was all about Northwestern. I was about this transfer coming in and doing his thing. And at the end of the day, he got hurt, but he was not playing. He was not playing average football before he got hurt. That just did not work. So that said, obviously a huge disappointment to go from first in the Big Ten West to last. That's all you need to really know about Northwestern as far as what happened last season. And the record 3-9 was the worst under Pat Fitzgerald during his tenure there, which has been 14 seasons long. So he's entering year 15 now. Again, last year was a complete failure. I mean, it just was. So whether they won the Big Ten West division the year prior or not, going 3-9, even if you're Northwestern, it's a failure under Pat Fitzgerald. That's just the culture he has built there is not necessarily a perennial winner of the Big Ten West, but they're almost always a factor.
Competitive team, youngster. That's what you're talking about, being competitive, not sneaking into a bowl game at 6-6. They're usually up around the 8-win area, maybe sneaking out 9, and then every once in a while, overall, they're going to get a double-digit win season. Fitzgerald has done a wonderful job at Northwestern, in my mind, a coach that is very underrated, partially because recruiting at Northwestern is a lot different than recruiting at what's a team like even in Illinois, which is not a dominant team. But Northwestern's entrance requirements are a lot more stringent than a lot of other teams in the Big Ten, and partly because of academics. And it's a very good Big Ten academic school. Not saying the others aren't either. I mean, degrees from any Big Ten institution are going to be great.
Yeah.
But Northwestern has a little bit different admission requirement based on the type of student that they want on campus. I think Fitzgerald, in my mind, Kevin, is one of the most underrated coaches in America.
Yeah, absolutely. I would agree with that 100%. And, Northwestern's just on a different level academically, which is pretty tough. Like, outside of the obvious Ivy League schools, to me, you have, and there are probably a couple I'll miss, but, like, Stanford is one. Northwestern is right up there. Like, they're just right up there. Like, sure, you can say they're behind Harvard, Yale, okay, fine. But behind those, Stanford, completely up there. Vanderbilt, even though they're in the SEC, they're definitely up there as well. They're the complete outlier in the SEC academically. And Northwestern's up there, for sure. So Northwestern has that. But anyway, getting into the team and what it's going to look like before looking at the schedule this year. The offense last year, again, Hunter Johnson, the transfer quarterback, he got hurt. He wasn't doing well before. The offense in general was bad. Isaiah Bowser, the running back, he got hurt again for what seems like the third straight year. Maybe it was 4. I don't even know, but it seems like he always gets hurt. They had some guys step up at running back, so that's promising. That's what Northwestern's usually built on offensively, is running the football first. Defensively, before I get to the defense, Peyton Ramsey, quarterback from Indiana a year ago, he was kind of splitting time. He was in a quarterback battle with Michael Penix, and Ramsey played some games due to injury from Penix, but he got in there and he was really good. And in general, at Indiana, he was really solid. And so now he is a grad transfer, and he is assumed to be the starting quarterback at Northwestern going into 2020. So that will clearly help their offense a lot. He is a known Big Ten quarterback who can get the job done. And that's at Indiana. That's not at Ohio State. That's not a guy who got it done at Alabama, and so now he's having to transfer and do it with Northwestern players. This is an Indiana quarterback. They had some talent. So does Northwestern. But so Peyton Ramsey is not going to completely lose you games because he's just terrible. That won't happen. Obviously, he'll have a couple games where he doesn't play phenomenally, but they will have stability again at quarterback. That's a huge take away going into 2020. Their top wide receiver returns. Their top 4 of their offensive linemen return. Patty Fisher is an all Big Ten linebacker. He's back. They got another really good linebacker back as well. The defensive line is kind of young, but overall the defense is a veteran group. So you got better quarterback play. As long as your running backs stay healthy, they should be adequate. The offensive line, most of it returns. The defense in general is older. So Northwestern should bounce back in the sense of not winning a third of their games. That being said, they played 12 games a year ago. This year they play 8. Going into the every team will play 9 because the 9th game you're going to play it like if Northwestern finishes 4th in the Big Ten West, then that 9th game will be against the 4th place Big Ten East team. If you finish second, then you play the second team. If you finish first, then you're obviously playing for the conference championship. You play the other division's first place team.
I like that, youngster. I like that whole idea. I think that's something they should do every year.
I
really do. Like, why not that weekend? Just everybody knows they're going to get that extra game. What it does to me, youngster, is it takes away that cupcake early game. And I know some teams like it. They like it because they want the win. But as a fan, I'd rather have another Big Ten game on the schedule.
It's much better.
And, you know, you look at it. If you're the 5th place team in the division, that could be like almost a bowl-eligible playoff game. Like, we're right there. The winner's going to get to a bowl and the loser's not. That adds excitement. If I'm the Big Ten, and I look at what COVID did to allow us to have to do this, I'm looking at it, and I thought about it when it first came out. I'm like, yeah, okay, you got to get a game. The more I think about it, though, I'm like, man, if they did that every year, even in a non-shortened season, every team knows they have one more game on their schedule. They can get rid of Troy State, A&M, FSU. You know, they don't have to play that game to win 71-0. That means absolutely nothing. Because the voters aren't going to care if you're playing some team that you beat 71-0, that you should beat 71-0. So I like it.
Yeah, I agree. I love the idea in general. So this team, they were 47th overall in recruiting, depending on where you look, around that ballpark, 11th in the Big Ten as far as their 2020 recruiting class, so this year's freshman group coming in.
How about their 2024 class?
Not too sure. If you want, Troy, I can look ahead to that. But. So, Northwestern.
Inside joke, folks. Inside joke for all the new listeners.
Yes. They're not a recruiting powerhouse, shocking to no one, as Troy mentioned earlier. Their schedule, again, to me, this team as a whole will improve from last year. I don't think it's going to be fantastic. I could be wrong. The running backs could be productive. Peyton Ramsey could step in and just be productive. The defense is getting older. They've got some of their top guys back. They could be good. They could surprise me. But when you look at their schedule realistically, game 1 they play Maryland at home. Okay. Game 2 you're at Iowa. So you would assume, okay, probably beat Maryland, hopefully, and probably lose at Iowa. Just most likely. Now, Game 3 at home against Nebraska, that'll be huge. That's winnable for sure. It's obviously also losable. Game 4 at Purdue, that's, again, an interesting game. Purdue, everyone knows what Purdue's all about. You can easily go to Purdue and lose. Just ask Ohio State from a couple years ago when they got blown out. Then after Purdue, Week 5, you play Wisconsin at home. It's nice you get them at home. It's still Wisconsin. Wisconsin's still better than you.
It's not nice you get them at home in a COVID season.
That is true. That's a good point. So again, you're kind of jostling back and forth, like win, loss. This is coin toss game. Game 6 at Michigan State. Game 7 at Minnesota. Week 8 home against Illinois. So again, it's not at all favorable. To me, I just kind of went willy-nilly, just going through the schedule, and I said 3-5 ? Like that's, again, this team, I think they get better, but they could easily go 3-5. You could easily go to Iowa and lose, go to Purdue and lose to Nebraska, lose to Wisconsin, lose to Minnesota, lose at Michigan State. They could go 2-6. I mean, so the schedule is not easy. If things play right, could they go 5-3? Maybe, but to me, it's not going to be much better than
you're really rubbing that lantern for the genie to come out. I'll tell you, I don't see 5 wins on that schedule, youngster.
No, I don't either.
Minnesota much improved. Yeah, Minnesota much improved. They got Wisconsin. They got Iowa. I mean, could they pull an upset at Iowa? Sure, they could. They could pull an upset against anybody. They proved it 2 years ago. But when you look at it and you look at it on paper, I don't see 5 wins.
No.
I don't even see. I think it's more like 3 and 5.
Yeah.
That's where I would go. I mean, I wouldn't bet any money on that just because there's a lot of games where you could have a toss-up in there. Because again, you have Fitzgerald as a coach, and he gets the most out of his players. He recruits to his system, gets the players he needs, and bam, he goes out and they compete. They're never an easy out. I mean, you've got to be prepared when you play Northwestern. That's all I got.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's, short story. Northwestern should be better, but due to their schedule, it's going to be rough to go much better than 4-4. But yeah, if I had to pinpoint it, 3 and 5 would be my ultimate guess. Moving on to Purdue. So Purdue last year 4-8 overall, 3-6 in the Big Ten. Not ideal for the talent that they had. Elijah Sindelar was their starting quarterback, and he was great. And their passing offense ranked top 15 in the country, and their rushing offense ranked bottom 5 in the country. So again, you know what Purdue was all about. Now with Sindelar gone, that has created a quarterback competition. There's Jack Plummer, who's a returning guy. Aiden O'Connell's a returning guy. They also have a transfer from UCLA, I believe. I didn't write it down. It's not directly in front of me, but I believe he's a transfer from UCLA. So they've got quarterbacks to choose from. Will any of them realistically be as good as Sindelar? Probably not. And especially if you've got a real competition and a guy plays bad and then he gets benched for another guy, and it'll be interesting to see what happens with the quarterback spot. I would assume whoever wins it out in camp should play well. Maybe they're not phenomenal.
I hope they don't do that 2-quarterback thing again.
No.
Play a series, bench a series, play a series, bench it.
Yeah.
Go in, hot hand, play 2 series, sit on the. I just don't like that. You remember when they tried that?
Yeah, I do. That's to me, unless you've got a clear-cut running quarterback that is just so dominant, like basically, unless you've got the Tim Tebow situation where it's like, okay, 3rd and goal, throw Tebow in there. It's on the 2-yard line. Okay, you've got some option, and that guy can pass. If you've got a guy that just can only run, or especially if you've got 2 clearly average passers just battling it out and you're not really making a decision, that's where it gets terrible. It's almost always terrible when you're platooning quarterback. But
especially
anyway.
if you have a quarterback, all of a sudden we talk about hot hand, and every game, people have bad games, and you're like, okay, well, you're going to play series 1, 4, 5, and 6, and you're going to play series 2, 3, 7, 8, and 9. But what happens if the guy that plays series 1 is like really hot? Like he's just feeling it. And now he's got to sit on the bench for 2 series because that's the way you wanted the rotation to go. I just don't like it. I mean, I understand why you want to maybe throw the defense off a little bit. It can have its benefit, but I think it's got more drawbacks than benefit. I mean, you could put packages in if you've got a quarterback that you feel is equal, as I air quote equal. You could throw some packages in there and incorporate them into the game. Look what the Saints do in the NFL. I know Hill fumbled on Sunday night against the Packers, but Peyton puts him in multiple packages, keeps Drew Brees on the field as a decoy receiver, but they can do things with him. They can run, they can throw. So I don't have a problem running packages with another quarterback, but I really disliked, and I think I ripped Purdue pretty good when we did the show, when they decided that's what they were going to do. And it just makes no sense to me. All right, carry on.
Yeah. By the way, Jack Plummer, who's one of their guys returning at quarterback, he played 6 games. Like Sindelar got hurt early last year, for those that don't remember. So, I mean, these guys have playing experience. Plummer played some games. He played 6 games before he got hurt, and then O'Connell stepped in. So it's not as though these guys have no idea what they're doing. And, They know the offense, they know the system, they know the players they have at their disposal. So, anyway, King Doru was the starting running back, which is just a phenomenal name. A year ago,
Purdue has running backs?
Well, that's the thing. They finished, bottom 5 in the country, but he showed as a freshman that he is capable. They just chose to throw the ball,
Can you name the last good running back that came out of Purdue?
When I was doing my homework for the show, Troy, they said the last 1,000-yard rusher, I believe it was 2006.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Can you name the last good running back that came out of Purdue?
I didn't recognize the name either. They said the name in the article. I didn't even retain it. Here I am like an hour later. But, so yeah, I mean, 14 years since they had a 1,000-yard back. Anyway.
And you know what? I'm okay with that. Purdue's identity, this is the thing I like about Purdue. The Big Ten, you usually equate good, hard-nosed defense, good offensive lines, really hard-nosed running backs. And Purdue has always been that team that has kind of bucked the perception. They're the team that's like, watch you guys. We're in the Big Ten, but we're not going to load up at offensive line and running back. We're going to load up at quarterback and wide receiver. And we're going to try to pass the ball in the Big Ten, it's almost like they want to be an SEC team. It really is. Because when you look back, like you said, how many years has it been since they've really run the ball effectively? It's been a long, long, long time. Yeah. So we'll see what happens.
Have your identity, and they have it. And to that, I mean, they get decent quarterbacks to go there. They get basically 5-star talent receivers to go there. Rondale Moore, as a freshman, I think he was first team All-American as a freshman. And then last year as a sophomore, he got hurt. I don't remember what game it was, game 1, game 2, whatever it was. So he was out the rest of the year. But now as a junior, he opted in to the 2020 season like a week ago. So having him back, I mean, that's, again, you're getting a first-team caliber All-American player, not just Big Ten, but the entire country. He's phenomenal. And then David Bell was a freshman. That's another 4-star they recruited a year ago. He had a really good freshman season, so he's a sophomore now. Those two are that's the top wide receiver combo in the Big Ten to me. If those guys are healthy, that's better than what Ohio State throws out there. Those are 2 NFL guys. Rondale Moore is potentially a first-round guy. Like those are 2 real receivers. So, whoever wins the quarterback battle has those 2 to throw to. Their starting tight end from a year ago, also, he's not back, but he went to the NFL. Like, this team has talented pass catchers. A year ago, that's why they finished top 15 in the country in passing as a Big Ten school. So they've got players at the skill position. So that's a positive. They lost a couple veteran offensive linemen, and then to go to the defense, it was bad a year ago, as it usually is in Purdue. They returned some defensive linemen. The linebackers were strong a year ago, but a lot of them have gone, graduated, whatnot. The secondary, that's where you're kind of have more experience returning from a year ago. And so, I mean, it's kind of same old, but having Moore and Bell as your pass catchers, that's, if healthy, Purdue will put up points for sure. And if you're weak in the secondary, like you could be Michigan State, you could be Minnesota, you could be Wisconsin. Yeah, we've got more talent as a team. We should win. We're the better team. If you've got a weak secondary, though, against Purdue, like you're going to get completely exposed, and you could easily lose by 2 touchdowns. That's just whether you have the better team or not. Like and the same goes if you have a bad rushing defense. You could be Ohio State playing against Wisconsin, and if your Achilles heel is not being able to stop the run, well, that's when Wisconsin can upset you and beat you. Like, absolutely. So the same point being, you need a decent secondary against this offense. So recruiting-wise, they were 33rd in the country, 7th in the Big Ten. They got 5 4-stars. Braum is able to recruit, like I mentioned before. Rondale Moore was a 4-star at the time. David Bell was a 4-star. coming out. So they get, especially offensively, pass catchers, they get guys that can play for sure. Schedule-wise, to wrap up with Purdue here, I said 4-4 with a question mark. This team's, again, in the Big Ten West. From the East, they got Indiana and Rutgers. So that's favorable for you. Game 1, Week 1, October 24th, they're at home against Iowa. That'll be a good, interesting game because Iowa, top to bottom, roster-wise, talent-wise, probably has more talent than Purdue. At the same time, you're at home. It's Game 1. Iowa's secondary, I have to look more into it, but we'll see. So that'll be an interesting game. Week 2 at Illinois is winnable. Week 3 at Wisconsin. All these games for Purdue are winnable. They can beat anybody on any random given Sunday or Saturday. But, Week 3 at Wisconsin, that's as tough as it's going to get for a Big Ten West team, unless you're, I guess, traveling to Ohio State. Then you could make the argument there. But at Wisconsin, Week 4, home against Northwestern. Week 5 at Minnesota. Week 6, home against Rutgers. Week 7, home against Nebraska. Week 8 at Indiana. So, again, you've got some easier games in there. You play Illinois. You play Northwestern. You play Nebraska. You get them at home. You play Rutgers. You can't ask for too much more, realistically, when it comes to a schedule. But again, that being said, you still play Iowa. You still play at Wisconsin. You still play at Minnesota. And then at Indiana, that's a rivalry game. So I said 4-4. Could they go 5-3? Maybe pull an upset, go 6-2, be that feel-good story from the West? They could be. But I think this will be a very interesting team, especially with the pass catchers they have. Troy, are you there, or are you?
I am back, youngster. I told you I had to bow out for a little bit.
Yeah.
And I am back. So
cool.
Good analysis. I trust you 100% to carry the show in my absence. So for
I'll try.
I do this on my way home from work. And in my position, sometimes we do things for our customers that are a little bit, I guess, out of the ordinary, like making deliveries on my way home from work on a Friday night at 4:30 in the afternoon. I mean, that is good customer service for me to do that. So, we do it. We love our customers, but I really don't have anything to add. I was listening the whole time. I mean, I walked into my customer, and they're like, yeah, they're listening to the youngster talk because I had you on speakerphone. I said, don't mind that. I said, it's my radio show. And they're like, oh, that's cool. So, yeah, we can just carry on, my friend, unless you got anything else to add.
No. Moving on to Nebraska, and I haven't been able to, add on to my homework for Illinois, so this show will only be 3 deep. As far as the teams go, next week we'll do the top 4 teams from the Big Ten West from 2019. But to close this show, Nebraska, good old Scott Frost and that whole thing they have going on there. So Nebraska, a year ago, they went 5-7, and that was year 2 for Scott Frost. We're going into year 3 now. They're 3-6 in the Big Ten. Their AD said before the year, hey, hopefully we can win 6 games last year. And everyone was like, 6 games? What are you talking about? We got Adrian Martinez. He's going to be a sophomore this year. This is year 2. This is when Scott Frost turns an 0-12 team into a 12-0 team. This is when they make their big leap. And Nebraska went 5-7. So things are a little different. Nebraska 2020 as opposed to 1990. It's different when you go from the Conference USA, when you go from another league into a Power 5 league, and it's just, it's different. Usually it takes people some time unless you inherit an Ohio State, and Ryan Day gets to go, win 12 games a year for fun because he takes over Ohio State, or you're going to Alabama, or you're going, So that's not the case at Nebraska now. Again, maybe in 1990, but times have changed. So anyway, this roster, again, you get Adrian Martinez as your quarterback. He's a junior now. The question is always if you can keep them healthy and keep them upright and what the offensive line looks like. And the offensive line gets a lot of their guys back, so that's a positive. 70% of the roster, I looked at online, 70% of the roster was made up of freshmen or sophomores. So it's a young team. Obviously, Martinez is a junior. He doesn't, fit into that. But guys like Dedrick Mills was a very quality running back from a year ago. Wandale Robinson was, I think he was a 5-star recruit last year and came in as a freshman, and he showed he could play running back, he could play wide receiver, he could be in the slot, he could be outside, he can come out as a pass catcher from the backfield. He's one of those hybrid guys, I think listed as a running back, but he's, Alvin Kamara type. That truly, he is truly Alvin Kamara in college. That's, it's a 5-star guy who can catch the ball out of the backfield and make plays, make anyone miss. So you've got Mills as a pound-it guy. You've got Robinson to do whatever you need him to do. The offense, again, if healthy, if Martinez is healthy and the offensive line plays well and you've got those running backs to go to, and this could be a really, really, really nice offense. But
I think Martinez last year, Kevin, kind of underperformed, but didn't he have a lot of off-the-field problems that were not really made public, that we kind of rubbed the surface? They were made public, but we kind of rubbed the surface on our show a few times. But there were a number of off-the-field problems with Martinez, and I think it affected his play a little bit.
The main one was a rumor that we did not disclose on the show. That's not – I don't know if that's factual now or not. I haven't looked back at it.
We don't have to name the rumor. But
no,
I'm just saying if there's rumors out there, there's things going on, that had to play in a young kid's mind. It had to.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you're a true, Nebraska fan who, not to say if you're a true Nebraska fan, you don't know what the rumor is, you're not a true fan. But if you're on those message boards, those fan boards, like you may have come across it. But anyway.
Well, it's 2020. If you want to go look it up, go look it up. But it's not worth us sitting here and spending time on this show going back over old rumors. And, again, it was never confirmed. It's not facts. It was a rumor. Yeah. And that's why I said we kind of, rubbed the surface on these off-the-field things going on. Either way, true or false, it's out there. And in today's world, it might as well be true. It doesn't matter, because your name is now associated with something, whether it's true or false. And that's what I'm saying. A young kid, it has to affect his mind. So I just want to say I don't think we saw the true Martinez last year. I think we'll see a better version this year.
You would assume, yeah. And Mills and Robinson will definitely help that. Defensively, the team did lose its top wide receiver, J.D. Spielman. He transferred. I don't remember off the top of my head, but he transferred. He's gone. So that'll hurt. But, again, you've got an incredible rushing attack at your hands at Nebraska. Defensively, 2019, they got a little better from what they were in 2018. Much of their secondary returns. Their problem really a year ago was they were terrible against the run. So, especially in the Big Ten, that's, if you're bad against the pass in the Big 12, Pac-12, that's going to suck for you. And if you're bad against the run in the Big Ten, that's going to suck for you. That's just the way it goes. So, anyway, the team's got a veteran offensive line. They've got playmakers. They've got Adrian Martinez. Their defense improved a year ago. They finished 20th in recruiting. They're 4th in the Big Ten. They got 6 4-stars. Things appear to be looking better this year. At the same time, I looked at their schedule, and I said 3-5 maybe. Because let me look at their schedule here. Game 1. Also, we talked about this a couple weeks ago on the show, that, Nebraska had filed a lawsuit against the Big Ten trying to play football, and the Big Ten came out with their new schedule, and week 1, they open at Ohio State. Okay, have fun.
There's a good one.
Week 2, they host Wisconsin.
There's a good one.
So you're probably looking at 0-2 right there. Week 3 at Northwestern. Not a gimme game, Could they win? Should they win? Maybe. You could say 1-2, week 4, then you play Penn State. Okay, so you're most likely looking at 1-3 at best, unless you pull a really nice upset. So that's where I'm coming from with my 3-5 prediction here. But
so they're
anyway, week 5.
Let's say they do pull an upset over one of the favorites.
Okay.
And they beat Northwestern. So the best you start after 4 games is 2-2.
Right. Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Week 5, and it doesn't. I mean, it gets easier because you're playing the top dogs in the conference there, but still not easy. Week 5, home against Illinois. There you go. There's a nice winnable one. Next week at Iowa. Okay, there's another very losable game. Week 7, the next week at Purdue, still losable. And week 8, you play Minnesota at home. But so, I mean, you get at Purdue, you get Minnesota, at Iowa, you play Penn State, you play Wisconsin, you play at Ohio State. I mean, it doesn't get worse than that, realistically. So that's why I said 3-5. Sure, they could be a lot better and go 4-4 and pull an upset there. So anyway, your thoughts, Troy? 3-5-ish.
The Big Ten said, "Bend over, grab your ankles, or I'm going to show you how we feel about you suing us." That's what they said.
Yeah.
That is the toughest schedule in the Big Ten. And they're not the toughest team in the Big Ten. That's a tough schedule for Ohio State.
Right.
It's Nebraska we're talking about. Now, granted, I think they're going to be better than last year, but we say this with no matter what sport we talk about. Just because your record isn't better doesn't mean your team didn't get better. You can have a better team, but there's a lot of X factors that go into a winning record. And I don't see Nebraska even going 4-4, youngster.
Right.
I really don't. You look at Wisconsin, a team that people are probably just saying, oh, yeah, they'll go to the Big Ten championship because of the consistency they've had. But they've got a really good team. We'll talk about them in a couple of weeks. Penn State's no slouch. Ohio State, of course, the national championship talk. Oh, you got that team called Michigan over there, too. Then Nebraska, you got in your division, you got Iowa. They got no favors for that out-of-division games that they have to play. None.
Nebraska could go 2-6, and they could be a better football team than they were a year ago. I mean, that's their schedule. Like, if an injury happens, if a couple injuries happen, I mean, who knows? But I've only looked truly hard at 3 schedules so far, and this one certainly tops the cake. I mean, if you're a Big Ten East team and you drew Ohio State, Penn State, Michigan State, and then on a crossover, I know no team got both Wisconsin, Iowa, or Wisconsin, Minnesota. I don't think anyone got that. But, I mean, that would rival this. But, yeah, I would assume this is the toughest schedule in the Big Ten. So, anyway, that's it. I mean, we were, not even 45 minutes into the show, realistically. And
that's a good preview. Because we tried. Remember the first year we tried to do all the teams in one show? It was like a 2.5-hour show.
I don't even remember.
And then we tried it with basketball. We started, I think, with basketball because we started doing Go Big with basketball.
Yeah.
Is it going to be 6 years for Go Big? No, just
I think this is 5. I think this is 5.
So this is 5. Okay. I don't know. It's been a while. So remember we were doing those preview shows and they're like 2.5 hours long. Like I was getting tired myself after 2 hours. Like how am I going to sit down and edit this darn thing? Because I don't want to listen to myself for 2 hours. So I like the way that we do it now.
Yeah, absolutely. Some shows, like regardless of what show it is, the Big Ten show, the national shows we do, some of them Troy does a bulk of the talking. Sometimes I do. Usually it's, basically 50-50. But for some of these previews, especially Troy's on the road, he's not looking down at his notepad for some key notes on Northwestern football. Like, I'll do the bulk of the talking. And for a 45-minute show, I mean, I can already tell my voice is like, it's not the same. So to have a, hour and a half, 2-hour preview show, that's, could do it, sure. But
no, we did do it. It's right there in the archives. Go back. It's there.
There you go.
We're not throwing baloney against the wall. It's there. Then the second year we're like, okay, well, we'll do the show again this way, and then we'll put little mile markers in the preview. Like, if you like Wisconsin, go to – it's like, what? No. Finally, we wised up. And it must have been our great education from the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater that allowed us to think smart.
Yeah. One thing I want to add very quickly here, and I did a poor job at doing this during the show. My apologies to Inter Peak Coffee. But Inter Peak Coffee wants everyone to have access to a wide variety of gourmet coffee that isn't found in your local grocery store. Check out the selection at interpeakcoffee.com. Always use the promo code SPORTS. I also, if you follow them on Twitter, I think I saw Shane post out a link or a code for kickoff. I don't know if that was a one-day thing. I think it was like week 1 of the NFL, and he had the promo code kickoff for a different discount. But also follow Inter Peak Coffee on Twitter, just in case something different does come out.
And
for
Facebook.
Special.
And I'll say
and
all their
Facebook.
social media, and Facebook and LinkedIn, because they do. They'll throw out. Like on the first day of fall, they had a 20% off that day only.
There you go.
So just if follow them, I mean, you can use our promo code SPORTS, which will change after this month, but you can use that for any order, not just one day. You can use it at any time, SPORTS, for 10% off any time. We're going to change the code because we're probably going to change our discount in November. So we're going to see what happens there.
Thanks.
But, youngster, I want to add this, too, for our sponsor, because I told you my wife likes the apparel. She likes the coffee mugs, the travel mugs, all that good stuff. They have it at interpeakcoffee.com. They've got the Jack-o'-lantern coffee mug right now, and it's got like a crazy picture of a pumpkin on the front of it. It's pretty cool. It's $11. A little pricey, but, I mean, it's free shipping.
Free shipping. Yeah, there you go. Free shipping. So all you have to do is
all right, youngster. Who are we covering next week? Next week's show.
Next week, you caught me off guard here. Let me
I know
pull up.
Had to.
Let me pull up the standings here. So next week, we go from the bottom up again. So this week, we had Northwestern, Nebraska, Purdue. Then next week, we'll do Illinois, Iowa, Minnesota, and good old Wisconsin. Your good old Badgers, Troy.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for my good old Badgers. I really am. I'm really liking, and I didn't deny it when Chris took over. I think Chris, he's a Wisconsin guy through and through. People were pissed in Pittsburgh that he left, but do you blame the guy? That would be, and I think I use this analogy when it happened. I mean, I've since retired from coaching. I had a number of coaching jobs. Every coaching job I had, I enjoyed it. It was wonderful. Every university I was at. But if the University of Wisconsin Whitewater job ever came up, do you not think on a drop of a dime I would have said, yes, I'm going back right now? I played there. I have roots there, and that's Paul Christ. So Pittsburgh people might have been really mad at him, but put yourself in a situation. You established yourself somewhere. You know a lot of people. It's where you either got your first start or you went to school there. It made sense, and I thought he would do good things. Sometimes I wish he'd get a little more, I guess, trendy with the times and add a little more, play action, go deep, a little more deep stuff. But what he's doing is he's winning football games, right, youngster? And we'll talk more about it next week. But
that's what
I
it's all
just
about.
wanted to throw that out there because you brought it up about my good old Badgers.
Yeah. Can't wait for next week's show. I was glad we were able to keep the 10 to 15-ish minutes per team on this little shortened show.
We will next week. I won't. I mean, I don't have a lot to go off on the team I follow. So it'll follow the same regime. Same thing. But with that said, everybody, we recorded today on the Interpeak Coffee virtual studio line for the Cookie Monster Kid Cunny. I am Old Man Troy. Follow us on Twitter at Youngster Old Man. You'll find the link to all of our shows. Enjoy your week. Be great. Keep smiling. We'll get back at you. Have a good day.